People live longer, the risk of running out of money in retirement is becoming a bigger concern than ever. We welcome in Craig Bolanos, founder of VestGen Wealth Partners in Inverness in Downers Grove. Find him online at getretiredstayretired.com. Craig, thank you for joining us today. And I came across a remarkable sentence this morning, and I'm sure you have seen it as well out there in the social media ether, and that is right now, today, someone born at this moment, maybe when we're speaking, is going to live to be 150 years old. And not only is that a remarkable testament to the power of science and medical technology, but that is also quite a challenge from a financial planning perspective, because it seems like, Craig, a lot of our retirement math is built around an actuarial model that was established 60 years ago when people lived maybe into their 70s.
You know what? If we want to get retired and stay retired, planning for 30 years is one thing. Planning for what could be 80 years or more is something else. But, Rob, that's our future state. I think we're talking about what everyone should do right now. And my first tip, Rob, if we want to get retired and stay retired, is let's start being realistic about our expenses. The biggest problem, Rob, is people fib to themselves just to make the numbers work. That's a non-starter.
It seems like when we have the retirement discussion, it's always, well, what do you want to do when you retire? And you imagine that your lifetime of savings will go to travel. It'll go to all of these experiences that you couldn't have when you were shuttling kids here, there, and everywhere, or going to work. That's the fun part. And then the not so fun part is who's going to take care of you at the end. And there's a middle point in between those two axes. And how do you break down that conversation?
Well, what you're really talking about is this. Ultimately, it's going to be about needs versus wants. And yes, you just introduced something else, which is what I call continuity of care, what I call long-term care planning, which is the avalanche issue in retirement strategy today, because the numbers are daunting, the age wave demographics are large, and there's no easy solutions. But when you're intellectually honest about your needs and your wants, you actually have a real handle on what your budget can be and should be, and you start doing simulations to find the right sustainable withdrawal rates. Rob, most people can solve for anything once they're empowered with the information.
And one good rule of thumb about withdrawal from your retirement account once you're retired, that's the 4% rule. So if you're sitting on top of a cool $1 million, that's $40,000 a year. Now, that's before Social Security or maybe some sort of pension you may have vested into in a long ago job. But 40 grand, that's what you got to live on if you have $1 million saved up.
Yeah, the 4% rule is proven. The 4% rule, dare I say, is tested in the trenches. And there's talk and discussion that maybe it should be modified for future longevity, modified depending on where inflation and interest rates are going to be. But I think it's a great starting point for anybody who's trying to determine the feasibility for their retirement. But, Rob, the most important thing is people shouldn't anticipate that the last 5 years of their portfolio growth is going to be equivalent to the next 5 years. That's where I think it comes back to people being honest about how much they can actually spend, and the 4% rule is a great starting point. I'm happy you brought that up.
And then very quickly, the IRS is also making it easier for you to pad your retirement account, especially if you're over the age of 50 but not quite ready to hang it up.
Huge news. I think a lot of people know that if you're over the age of 50, there is catch-up contributions you can make to an IRA, you can make to a workplace plan like a 401k. But the bigger news is in 2025, catch-up contributions grow dramatically. Once you hit the age of 63, those catch-up contributions next year grow all the way to $11,250. That can go a long way to making up a gap in someone's retirement plan if they're disciplined and committed to follow saving strategies.
Craig Bolanos, founder of VestGen Wealth Partners in Inverness and Downers Grove. Find him online, getretiredstayretired.com.